Live life so that you create good vibes. The good vibes. Live life so that you radiate good vibes. The good vibes. Live life so that you generate good vibes. The good vibes. Live life so as to emanate good vibes. The good vibes. Spread the message of your life with good vibes. With good vibes. With good vibes. Welcome to the Good Vibes Podcast. Hey my friends, and welcome to this episode of the Good Vibes. I'm super excited that you are over here. Today we will continue on our journey of evolved learning. Evolved learning is when we learn from all the people in our lives and otherwise, all the things and experiences that we encounter. In general, we learn from life. So get pumped up now to feel alive with the good vibes. Hey my friends, and welcome to the Good Vibes. I'm your host Tushar, and today's topic is clarity, finding clarity for your life and for your days. So it's a really important topic because sometimes we're confused or we don't have clarity. We may not be confused, but we don't have clarity on our next step. If I talk about my recent experience, it would of course be finding the right college. It was such a mess. I had applied to 25 courses. I didn't know what I was going to do. I didn't know where I was going to apply or get selected. And I had no clarity of what I'm going to do. So these are the things that came to my mind about clarity. And of course, it didn't come when I was in zero clarity. It came later when I got clarity. It came recently when I felt that now I have clarity in my purpose, in where I'm going, in what I'm going to join. It suddenly is such a shift if you compare the two situations where I don't even know what I'm going to do. I've applied to 25 different courses, in the sense there are about 5 to 7 different kinds of subjects I've applied to, which were and were not related to the past stream that I was studying. I was studying science, and I was just applying to places. I had no clarity. And now I've got this clarity of dropping science and moving into something creative. And now this is really, really clear for me. But it wasn't clear for me then. And if you're in such a situation where you don't know what your next step is in any area of your life, it could be a relationship, it could be your life's mission, it could be a hobby, it could be anything which you don't have the clarity that you desire. I'm going to tell you how to find it today and what's the bigger picture in this whole thing. Do we really need the clarity, or will life still move on? Let's talk about that a little. So firstly, what I would what I have interpreted of after the situations that I've encountered is that you only are given the details which you need to know. Think about it for a second. You're only given the details, you're only given that information, that amount of information that you need to know at a particular instance. So, if you're feeling unclear about something and you feel you have the lack of information of something, it's because at that instance of time, at that instance of time, you need to know only that much. You have to make do with that much. You're not going to be given unnecessary information because you don't need it. The universe has given you that much information because it knows that much information is enough to take care of you. So, many times when we don't feel we have clarity, we go into this mindset that we don't have some information, we need something else, we need to just get something more. But the truth is, you have all that you require. Maybe you're not looking into what you have properly. Maybe if you're confused about doing A versus B, or you're unclear about how something is going to go, maybe you have either enough information or you have the collected wisdom to deal with that situation. Now, I'm not saying that you will have the answers, but you may have the wisdom to deal with the situation. You may know that it'll take time to reveal, and you may know that it's going to happen gradually, it's going to happen slowly. So, you're going to have something with you because that's how it is always. That's how it always is. You're going to be having something that's going to help you to deal with such a situation. So you need to remind yourself this, that you have the amount that you need to know, that the amount you require for a particular instance of time. So don't go behind needing all the information because you don't need it. You're given what you need, make do with it, find your way with that. And gradually, if if it is if it is said, or if it is predestined that you're going to be given more information along the way, you're going to have a laid out path for you in something, it will keep coming gradually because that's how life works. So at any instance of time, you have all you need. That was the first point. The second is that in such situations where uh, it's hazy and you can't see what's ahead, just go with your heart. Just go with your heart. Now, to visualize this, imagine a really foggy road. If you've been in a foggy place somewhere, imagine a foggy road and you're traveling in your car. You can't see the banks of the road, you can't see where the edges of the road. You can only see that white painted line, dashed line, which keeps taking you straight because it's painted in uh, fluorescent white. When your car headlight shines onto that, you can see that pretty clearly, or you can see something. Maybe you can see some road road lights, if you are getting what I mean. Those things which blink red when it's dark in the night. They blink red when there's a fog. So you can see that because of the light on it. So you have some clues and hints of where you need to go. You can't see the fag end of the road. You can't see the end of the road because it's foggy, but you can see about 5 to 10 meters in front of you, and you need to follow that path because you're given a little hint, you're given something to make do with. Once you walk 5 to 10 meters, then you can see the next 5 to 10 meters. So the second point is that you don't need to see the end, or you don't need to see what's in the end. You just need to see what you have in front of you. And how you can do this is by listening to your heart, because sometimes your heart pulls you. I don't know, it's magical. I thought that everything that is processed in our body is by the mind, but our heart has some magical power. I'm sure of that. I can't prove it to you with scientific data, but I'm sure the heart has some magical power because it listens to true callings, which the mind and the brain sometimes can't, because it's too caught up in thinking and analyzing and introspecting about this whole life of ours. Our heart is a very simple organ, it just keeps beating, and it listens to true callings because it doesn't have a mind of its own. It can't think. It just it just reacts. It just keeps on beating, and it reacts to a calling. So in any situation where you're feeling, this is so unclear, listen to your heart. What does your heart say? And to do that, maybe you'll have to sit for 5 minutes, go within yourself, and ask yourself this: what does my heart say? What does my heart say? And you'll get an answer. Surprisingly, try it out. What does your heart say? And you'll know that the answer is correct when from within you feel that approval. When you don't take into account all the things that are happening in this world, and you just solely increase the volume of your heart to the maximum, you'll know that that's the true and authentic answer, and that's what you should do. Sometimes even that's unclear, but if you give it time, and if you give it some some time to settle down, essentially, you'll see that the answer becomes crystal clear as we move on. This is leading me to my third point, that is, give it time. Give it time, my friend, and let it settle for some time. So, what you need to know is that even with the little information that you're given, you can see up to 10 meters in all directions. And you should take the path which your heart tells you to take. So once you take that path, you're going to not be given the answer straight away. You're not going to be told, okay, the now that you've taken the path that your heart has told you, you are given with a brochure of all the answers that you are asking. No, that's not how it works. It works like this. So once you take that path and you start moving in it gradually, slowly, when you keep moving ahead, you start getting some answers to some questions which you didn't know. You start surprisingly and magically getting inputs, getting something along the way that answers questions of your past. So this also teaches you to really love your questions, because not all of them can be answered. So instead of getting upset with it, just be fascinated by your question. Now that's a nice way to go about things. If you have a question which you can't answer, just say, hey, isn't that a fascinating question? Wouldn't it be great to get an answer to it? And move on, because you already have all the resources you need. You can already see 5 to 10 meters around you. You can keep proceeding in that way. And if you still can't decide where to go, you need to go where your heart takes you. And once your heart takes you and you keep proceeding on the way, you'll find that you're suddenly getting all these answers, and what you were really, really unclear about is now crystal clear. And you have all the answers you need, you have all that you need to know, and you're proceeding in the best way possible. So that's about gaining clarity. And the important detail, if you want to be happy, you need to follow your heart. Because regardless of whether you follow your heart or not, you're going to gain clarity later on the whole situation of the past. And you may not end up really, really happy if you didn't listen to your heart. That heart part which I put in was to make sure that you take the path which keeps you happy throughout life. And if you get used to doing that, you're going to live a happy, happy life, my dear member, my dear friend. So that's about gaining clarity. I hope you enjoyed it and found value from it. I'll meet you again next time. Hey, my friends, did you enjoy this podcast? If you did, do rate, review, and subscribe to it on iTunes or whichever app or application you are using. And if you feel someone in your life needs to hear this message, don't think twice about sharing it. Or if you feel this inspires you to record one of your own podcasts, go ahead and spread the good vibes. Spread the message of your life with good vibes. With good vibes.